Welcome to episode number 297 of the Marine Layer podcast. The Mariners won a huge series in Kansas City this week. We'll recap it. We'll preview the upcoming series in Houston. We'll also open up the mailbag and answer your guys' best listener questions.
Your guys' reminder, make sure you're staying on top of all of our stuff, which is over at our website. That's marinelayerpod.com, where you can get your merch, sign up for Patreon, check out our live show schedule. And again, that's all over at our site. All our episodes are there as well. And then you can follow us across social media at Marine Layer Pod.
Let's get it rolling.
The pitch from Acevedo. A drive deep to right field. Down the line. The Mariners win this game 2-1. The dream lives. They're going to the playoffs. One more from Gant. There you go. Left field. We got a tie ball game. Julio. Oh, baby, what a moment. Tie ball game at 7-7.
And we welcome you to this episode of the Marine Layer podcast, part of the Just Baseball Podcast Network. Recording here on Thursday evening, September 18th, and at 7:38 p.m., I would like to formally announce, Lyle, a huge announcement. The Seattle Mariners have the best World Series odds in Major League Baseball. Let's give it up. Hang the banner.
Oh, so they're missing the playoffs.
You had to be a downer.
Come on. When you see things like that, how does your mind not go to PTSD and trauma?
We did say as soon as we saw that, oh, this means they are missing the playoffs. The lead is only 3.5 games over the Guardians still, despite them being in a tie for first place. So, yeah, they're missing the playoffs. The Rockies are coming into T-Mobile Park, and it's over.
The Rockies are going to win 2 of 3 in Seattle in the last week of the year.
The Rockies are going to eliminate the Mariners on Thursday, and they're going to do a Savannah Bananas dance around the stadium watching the Mariners pout.
Don't even put that thought in my head.
I'm not. Why don't we talk about something positive in this great series they just played?
I was going to say, don't you put that evil on me, Ricky Bobby. Yeah, let's talk about the Royals instead and what's currently happening. Yes, in all seriousness, the Mariners having World Series odds like that is really cool because it means that credible people like Fangraphs believe in this team and believe in this roster and what they could do long term, which is so exciting. Part of that is what they just did in Kansas City this week, which in spite of a tough loss on Tuesday, or I should say on Wednesday, that is still a really successful series. I understand, and we'll be the first people to tell you, they should have won that game on Wednesday. They had it. But
good thing we didn't record after that game.
Yeah, good thing. But to still win 2 of 3 on the road in a really important series, massive. Massive from Luis Castillo on Thursday, absolute nails. Massive from J.P. Crawford. Massive from our guy Andy Bissell. My God, dude, what a fucking challenge. Holy hell. But all encompassing, Mariners needed that series. They got it. That was huge.
And one's to say that if you looked at Wednesday's game and you said, okay, if something totally random doesn't happen, the Mariners win that game and they sweep instead. Like if Matt Brash just does his job, which is why he was in the game in the first place. We got a mailbag question. It's like, yeah, did Dan Wilson screw up Wednesday's game by putting Matt Brash in the 8th inning? The answer to my question is no. No, he didn't. Matt Brash, when he goes in the 8th inning, is supposed to go in there. He's supposed to lock it down. I don't think I expected this. I don't think you expected this. I don't think Brash or Cal Raleigh expected that Adam Frazier, of all people, was going to stick the bat head out and loft a lazy fly ball the other way that somehow left the ballpark. You have to imagine this swing of emotions that I think all of us went through. If someone wasn't paying close attention to Wednesday's game, in order, in the span of about 7 minutes, we had Julio get picked off after the Mariners took the lead in the top half of the 8th inning as a trail runner to end the inning. And I'm sitting there, I'm like in the middle of a workout. I can't believe I'm pissed that he got picked off. The commercial break happens. They come back. Brash walks the leadoff batter. And then Adam Frazier just does boop, goes over the fence. And I'm sitting there. I'm like, if you're watching on YouTube, I just threw my hat on the ground.
How the hell was that ball out in 14 parks? That's what Savant says, including Seattle.
The expected batting average on that was 0.06. 60.
060.
That's the way to say it.
Yeah.
That it should have been impossible. It did feel like one of those games in a past year that the Mariners might let snowball. Like that felt like past games in Kansas City that would turn into gut-wrenching losses or gut-wrenching multiple losses that could potentially derail the season. And then what did the Mariners do today? They hung on through some just really gritty performances. Offense is able to scratch out a run. They're able to manufacture that run late in the game because of our guy Andy Bissell, friend of the pod, for finding a way to keep Dom Canzone on base, and then J.P. Crawford, who was nails all series, to double him home. And then the Mariners pitched a shutout on the mound, which was great. You know what? In a past year, maybe they would have given up a walk-off 3-run home run. But they didn't this time. They managed to find a way, and it's all for the better because now the World Series favorites banners is going up in the ballpark once they return home. I promise.
I'm sure somebody's already made the graphic on Twitter. I'm sure somebody on that graphic that people always love to make where it's all their playoff appearances and then the blank fourth one where it says insert your own meme. I'm sure it's already been made.
It's going up.
Yeah, it's going up.
This is one of the greatest accomplishments in Seattle Mariners franchise history. If you were to guess, has there ever been a point besides 2001 where this is the case?
Is there a shot in 95? I mean, Fangraphs didn't exist back then.
Using their same calculations, probably not. We've gone through that Cleveland roster they lost to.
Oh, yeah. No.
I don't think they were favored over that team.
Dude, that Cleveland roster had Jim Thome hitting 6th.
Yeah. In his prime.
Yeah. Was that his prime or was that too early to say it was his prime?
Pretty close.
Yeah. And again, it was warranted that he was hitting 6th. AKA there were 5 guys ahead of him that were so good that he was hitting 6th. That Cleveland roster was nuts. But anyway, this series in 2025, not in 95, in Kansas City, they took care of business. We said that they needed to go minimum 3-3 on this road trip. Well, they seem like they're set up to do that now, hopefully. And you should be greedy. You shouldn't settle for 3-3. We were saying 3-3 is the minimum. Go take at least 2 in Houston because you've set yourself up incredibly well by winning the series you're supposed to win. Now go win the division, take advantage of this upcoming series, and go slam your foot on the gas here against the Astros.
And fortunes have gone their way this week as well. We got our wish that the Astros swept the Rangers. So they eliminated the Rangers almost entirely out of the playoff race. The counterbalance to that is now you and the Astros are tied, and there's no separation going into the series. Whoever wins this series is going to come out with a 2-game lead in the division. It's not one. It's a 2-game swing for winning this series. Win 2 games, gain 2 games.
Right, because, and just to explain it to people, most of you probably already know, but just in case, whoever wins this series is going to own the tiebreaker for the year. So it is a massive, massive swing on who wins this series. Because if you end the year tied, it's going to go to the tiebreaker. If the Mariners win 2 of 3, it will be their biggest series win of the year. It may be their biggest series win in 20-plus years.
It is going to be really hard for the loser of this series to win this division. Think about it from this perspective. Let's say the Mariners win this series, and they're now essentially 2 games up on the Astros. Then the Astros have to worry about gaining 2 games on the Mariners, while the Mariners get to play 3 games against the Rockies.
Mm-hmm.
Does that sound realistic?
Realistic? It's in the realm of possibility. I sure as hell wouldn't be banking on it.
And then think about this from the Mariners' perspective. The Mariners still have a 3-game series with the Dodgers to finish the season. If they lose this series and they are 2 games back of the Astros to win the division, are you going to gain 2 games on the Astros when they go play the A's and the Angels? The A's are maybe the equivalent of the Well, this is silly to say. Let me just hang with me here. The A's have been playing better. The A's have been playing better recently, so that would be the series the Mariners need to gain games on the Astros with. But then the Astros also play the Angels, which again, you and I saw that team. They don't really care.
No.
So the Astros are going to sweep them.
Mm-hmm.
That's what you have to worry about. This series, I shit you not. This is probably one of the 5 most important series that the Mariners have ever played in the regular season. Ever.
I think it's the most important one in 25 plus years. Because what are the other arguments here? You could say the A's series in 2022 when they clinched, which, sure, that was really memorable. That was also to clinch a wild card. Now we're talking about the division. We're talking about potential home field advantage. We're talking about potentially them getting a bye in the playoffs. That doesn't compare in terms of magnitude to clinching a wild card spot in 22. This is way bigger. And the A's weren't playing for anything back then. That was a terrible team that the Mariners beat to clinch their postseason berth. The Astros are fighting neck and neck with you for a division.
The only other options, I think, are in 95. I think it'd be 95. There's probably a few series in 95 you could choose to match up with this. And then I would also say, I think we look at this one differently because of the results of this, and we know the results. I think that 2023 final stretch is right up there. 2023, the Astros led both the Rangers and the Mariners by half a game for the American League West. And then all of those teams essentially round-robined each other to finish the season. The Mariners had 7 games against the Rangers and 3 against the Astros to close out the season. The only reason we don't say the Mariners series against those 2 teams down the stretch of that year weren't as important as this one is because as soon as that 10-game stretch started, the Mariners got swept by the Rangers and were out of the division right away. That's why it wasn't big. They had a big series in front of them, and they folded like a deck of cards. I don't think this team is going to fold like a deck of cards. It helps that the Astros are not as good as that Texas Rangers team was, but this Mariners team is also just better, and they're playing better. And you look at their rotation, it's just more sustainable. That 2023 Mariners team was running on fumes and a very inconsistent offense that was ultimately the reason they missed the playoffs. So I would agree with you. I think there's a real argument for this to be the most important series they've ever played. And what a capper that they're going to get Sunday Night Baseball, which I would guess is going to be the game that decides this series. I'm thinking with the 2 horses going on each side to start this series, that it's going to be a 1-1 split heading into that Sunday Night Baseball.
Hell of a ride. It's a hell of a ride. Do we want to dig into the matchups for this weekend, or is there anything we want to cap off with the Royals series?
Can I give Luis Castillo at least a little shout here? The Mariners really have needed this version of Luis Castillo his last 3 starts. Listen to these. 6 innings, 1 earned against Atlanta. 6 innings, 1 earned against the Angels. 6 innings, no earned runs today against the Royals. That dates back right to the start of this streak that they're currently on. That put them back in this position. Because before this streak started, they were hanging on to their playoff spot. And this streak has put them in square position to not only win the division, but to get a bye as well. And I don't think they do that without Luis Castillo. He has been great. And it also, because his last 4 starts before that were horrendous. It was 19 earned runs in 17 innings. These 3 starts were much needed.
And he's going to get 1 more start in the regular season at home against the Rockies. So
perfect.
You're talking about an end of the year for Luis Castillo in a September that's been vital. You're right. He sparked the start of the win streak again. He gave them a really important start against the Angels, and he saved their ass against the Royals here on Thursday. Saved them. Absolute dominant work, especially considering Luis was on the mound back in 22 when that collapse started. That wasn't the case here on Thursday. He went out and flat out dealt. He kept those guys at check all day long. Shout out The Rock.
One other thing from this Royals series. I want to give Andy Bissell his flowers properly. And for all of you who don't know the story of how all of this came to be in the game today and what you were watching, let us fill you in right now. Because I think, Lyle, this might be one of the craziest and most successful challenges we've ever seen in Major League Baseball. It all starts early in the game where Andy's talking about postgame. He says we're always looking at this stuff. With the new rules in place and the shift rules that you have to be on the dirt, if they noticed someone is getting a little lax with their positioning and they're scooting pretty close back to the grass, they're going to look and see if they can take advantage of that later in the game. And Andy noted that they noticed that Michael Massey, the second baseman, was standing way back in the hole at second base and saw that his heels were on the grass. And they're like, you know what? let's sit on this and see if we can use it to our advantage later in the game. Because there's no point in doing it early in the game when you could use it in an advantageous situation late. And what do you know? The 8th inning comes up, and they see Dominic Canzone in a crucial spot in a 1-run lead, ground out to second base, and you take full advantage of that opportunity to get Dom on base and see that Massey's back heel was on the grass. And then JP comes up and doubles Dom in, and that's that, man. And it works out great because I would have really been sweating in that 9th inning if it was only a 1-run lead.
That really is just a psychotic challenge. And I mean that in all the best of ways. Absolutely psychotic challenge that worked to their total advantage and got him a massive insurance run. That was crazy work from Andy. So shout out to him. To pick up on that and to see it in real time and then to utilize it, wild. If this was in May...
There's a lot of details that goes into this stuff behind the scenes that I think people don't really know about. Like, this is really a full coaching staff effort to be on top of this and take advantage of it when it happens. Because, like, this is planned in, like, the 2nd inning. Once they notice this, that they're going to try this later in the game if it works in their fortune. And it's great. And, you know, we've talked to Andy plenty at the ballpark. He listens to the podcast. Like, he's one of the nicest, hardworking dudes out there. And we're glad he got his shine. And he gets the whole media backdrop today, too.
Yeah.
And the reporter scrum. That's fantastic.
There's something he probably didn't think was going to happen rolling out of bed today.
Yeah, probably not. Ryan Divish grilling you after the game.
I mean,
everyone's favorite.
That's utopia right there.
It is perfect. It really is. Do you want to look ahead to this series?
I do. And we only need to spend about 10 seconds on this because it's stating the obvious. And the more important thing here now and what people want to hear about more now is what's about to happen going forward and what's about to happen in what's the Mariners' biggest series in the last 25 plus years. So I'll just spend 10 seconds on this because it's stating the obvious. You can't get picked off at first base, Julio. That has to be the last time this season this happens. It can't happen again. Games are too crucial. It's not like you're chasing a slider. That happens. You can't make base running blunders like that this late in the year.
As the trail runner.
Yeah. Can't happen.
Yeah. Not good. Okay. Let's look ahead to this Astros series. These pitching matchups give you everything you want. Brian Wu versus Hunter Brown on Friday. George Kirby versus Framber Valdez on Saturday. Logan Gilbert versus Jason Alexander on Sunday. I kind of like the matchups for the Mariners because last time the Mariners faced Hunter Brown, they hit him pretty well. Knocked him out of the game pretty early in the game. Mariners ended up losing that game, but we're not going to talk about that. The matchup against Brown was successful. Framber Valdez against the Mariners over the years has not been the most successful matchup for him. They've knocked him around a little bit. And he's ended up throwing at Mariners a couple of times because he's gotten a little frustrated from them hitting him. Add on top of that you have your best road starter starting in Game 1. And we've seen this season, I mean, you can go to his last start, you can go to earlier in the season, what the best version of George Kirby looks like. And all of a sudden, you're liking this matchup. Yordan Alvarez is out of the lineup for the Astros. He might not be back in this regular season. The injury gods look at you positively, and I think so do the pitching matchups.
And I think that's a bad take.
Why?
You like these matchups? You can be a baseball fan and be fired up about these matchups. If you've got no dog in this fight, you're sitting there thinking to yourself, what an awesome slate of pitching matchups. And it is. If you're a fan of the Seattle Mariners who cares about nothing but winning this series and winning this division, no, you should not want to face Hunter Brown and Framber Valdez. I want to face Ryan Gusto, a healthy Spencer Arrighetti, and Colton Gordon. I don't want to face Hunter Brown and Framber.
What would we say if they shut out the Mariners? We'd say typical.
They would, or I'm sorry, let me throw one other name in there too. The absolute corpse of Lance McCullers. I'd be fine facing him too, who's got a 7 ERA. I want to face all those guys, not Hunter Brown and Framber Valdez.
Man, Framber has 100 innings against the Mariners in his career. That's a lot. But
yeah.
If we he's made 2 starts against the Mariners this year, and he's done very well. But each of the previous 3 seasons against the Mariners, it has not been very successful for Framber. He had a ERA of 4 in 2022, and 2023, an ERA of 6.6, and last year an ERA over 5. And this version of the lineup, he has not gotten to face yet. I still like the Mariners' chances here.
I like them, but I'd like them better if they were facing McCullers, Gusto, and Gordon.
But we knew the Astros were not going to roll that out in this series. Like, they know what's at stake.
I know they do. And
I'm
yes,
hyped,
the
man.
Mariners...
This is what baseball's all about.
Again,
you want to feel that much better if they knock him around?
Yes, but this isn't for feel good. I just want to win. I want to, again, you're right that this is what baseball is all about. And if you're talking from a logical baseball fan's perspective and having marquee matchups, yes, this is what baseball is all about. But if you're asking me, the Mariner fan, what you want to see, I want to see them face their weakest links and absolutely crush them. They're not going to get that, and you have to play the hand you've been dealt. But to say I love this matchup for the Mariners, I don't know if I quite say that. Again, Framber's had 2 good starts against them. Hunter Brown's in the Cy Young conversation. They can do it. I'm not saying they can't. They can absolutely go hit these guys and win 2 of 3. I'm just saying that if you're asking who I'd most want to face, it's not those 2.
I'll tell you what, man. Hunter Brown has thrown 10 1/3 innings against the Mariners in his career, and he has given up 8 earned runs.
Good. So do that again this weekend, please.
I'm not complaining. So it's going to be... Look, we have a mailbag question asking us to predict the outcomes of this series, so we'll give it our best gander once we get to that question. But I'll tell you what. The Mariners have the roster advantage in all 3 phases. We've said this. So they need to go out there and they need to do it. Take advantage of the fact that Astros don't have a good chunk of their best players. And just go be the better team. And go win. And go win in prime time, too. Show the country how good you are. I think this is all we want.
If they really made a statement like that this weekend, especially on Sunday Night Baseball with the national world watching, that would be sick. And Sunday, they're going to get the weakest link of this rotation this weekend, and they're going to get Alexander. And if they hit him this weekend, and if they go out and really assert their authority, that would be sick. Because you know what's going to happen on Monday on all the national programming? People are going to talk about the Mariners and say, look at those guys. They're in position to win the West. They just throttled the team that's been sitting on the throne for a decade. They're going to be sitting there talking about, man, this team can make a run. This team can go beat the entire American League field. And that narrative would be sick. So I hope they do it. If they go out and absolutely make a statement in this series, the discourse around the Mariners, not just around here, but nationally, is going to have people really high on life.
The only other, I think, notes from this series, in terms of Yordan's injury from this week, like I mentioned, it doesn't sound like he's going to be back in the regular season. It's an ankle injury that he got when stepping on home plate. Excuse me. I think playoffs is still TBD for him. That would be a big loss. He was hitting really well when he came back, but he's just not been able to stay healthy.
TBD might even be friendly. I think it's going to be an uphill battle for him to get back on the field this year. Didn't look like a pleasant injury. Had to hobble off. Timetable was very, very wishy-washy. I'm not sure Framber. I'm not sure Yordan gets back on the field this year.
It's difficult to maintain your body when you're that big. It's really hard. We've seen it with Giancarlo Stanton. Aaron Judge has really been the outlier when it comes to being that large and that healthy.
Yeah, man. And you look through this Astros lineup, and again, I know it's going to be a series that has people sweating bullets, us included, for every good reason. But you just look at this Astros lineup and all the starters. Yainer Diaz, 92 OPS plus. Christian Walker, to his credit, he's played much better in the second half. But still, 92 OPS plus. That's at first. Mauricio Dubon, 81. The guys that are hitting well in this lineup, or that have hit well this year, a lot of them are out. Paredes isn't going to play. Pena's been the one really good bat. But otherwise, it's mix and match with a lot of guys. Even Cam Smith, who's their prize rookie in the Kyle Tucker trade, he hasn't had a great offensive season. His OPS plus is 88. This is not some dominant Astros lineup. And I know the Mariners have had their problems on the road. I know Logan Gilbert and George Kirby specifically, who are going to pitch in this series, have had their issues on the road. But you are right. This is not the same Astros team that you've gone against for a long time. This is a much weaker group, an offense that's much worse, and matchups that should favor you. This is not the death lineup of going up against Prime Altuve and then Kyle Tucker and then Bregman and then Jordan and then Correa. This ain't that. It's a different brand and it's a different group of guys, and not in a good way for the Astros. I know Correa's back, but he's not the same guy he was back in 22, and you should have every advantage in this series.
And I wouldn't worry about them showing up flat, because I think of this in comparison to the Rays series. Like, you're playing in a AAA ballpark. You're still a while away from your biggest series. You're just trying to manage on the road. And the Rays got hot and they swept you. But the Mariners, I think, understand how big this series is. Like, you can't just show up and not play well. Like that, or not play hard. Playing well, I guess it depends how the ball bounces. But you just can't, you're not going to show up and not play hard and not be amped up. And Brian was not going to be amped up on the mound to start that series. He absolutely knows what's up. The whole lineup knows what's up. They have this division circled. So I'm so excited for this weekend, and I can't wait to be glued to the television the entire time watching these games.
Well, that's cap, because you will not be glued to the television the entire time. We won't physically.
Well, not on Friday, but I will be I will be paying attention.
Oh, we're going to be watching. And to be honest, I'm sure inside that ballpark, they're going to have the game on somewhere because people are going to want to be watching. So
right.
I'm sure we'll find a way. But yeah, we're going to be sweating bullets all weekend, especially out on Friday when we're at the Savannah Bananas game, which is going to be sick and we can't wait for it. It just happens to coincide with the biggest Mariners series in 20 years that we have to multitask for.
Jose Altuve is going to hit a go-ahead home run in the bottom of the 7th inning as the Savannah Bananas break out their fire truck dance.
Or they start doing the gritty.
Yeah, they start doing the gritty.
And all of a sudden, you just hear two media members just scream an F-bomb.
But they'll keep going through it because they're professionals.
They are professionals.
It's a lot to look forward to this weekend, guys.
I can't wait. We ready to get to the mailbag here in a minute?
Yeah.
Let's do that after we give a quick word about our friends over at Pagach's Pub 85. Look, you guys are going to need a spot to watch the game this weekend. Every single one of you is going to be tuning in, and I know that for a fact. So if you are, and you want a spot to go watch with your friends, head over there. There's awesome food at the place. There's games like pool and darts, and if you want great drink specials, we'll go during happy hour, because from Monday through Friday from 2 to 6 p.m., you can get happy hour drinks for $3 and $4, all while watching the Mariners, college football, the NFL, etc., all across their 20 TVs inside the place. It's an awesome spot. You can go check it out. That's Pagach's Pub 85 in Kirkland.
Let's get to the mailbag, and a reminder to all of you, as it is every week, if you'd like priority on these mailbag episodes, the place to go is our Patreon. Patreon.com/MarineLayerPod. It gets you ad-free episodes, priority on these mailbags, and you get a Patreon call with Lyle and I on video one time a month. It's fabulous. There's some really great perks there. We got a nice group chat in there if you want to collaborate with other Mariners fans. Really fun time. So that sounds like something you'd be interested in. Patreon.com/MarineLayerPod. Starting it off on Patreon, it's Jeanette, and her question is, if you controlled who's on the final roster for the playoffs, who is on this team? Who gets sent back down to AAA?
The easy answer, I think, is Harry Ford. You're just not going to carry 3 catchers on the playoff roster, and once that happens, you probably send them back down. Also, if you plan to keep all 5 starters and put one of them in the bullpen, then the odd man out is probably Legumina, if I had to guess.
Or Luke Jackson, whichever they prefer. Probably Legumina.
Luke Jackson's actually thrown some decent innings. I bet you they keep him.
Would that reliever throw it all, though?
Maybe not, but it's a last resort option. And again, if you need a last resort option and you're going off what have you done for me lately, Luke Jackson's thrown the ball decently well.
I'm with you. I did write down that spot doesn't matter as much, but that was the one pitcher spot that was up in the air. Mm-hmm. I think the question that comes down to me when I look at this playoff roster, I wrote it out, and the only real question mark is what you do with that last bench spot. Do we think they're going to start Polanco every day at second in the playoffs?
I don't know. That is going to be a fascinating case. Because it's either that or you're going to DH him, and then you either put Leo Rivas at second base or you'd put Polo at second base and DH Canzone, and you have Robles in right field for some defense. You're going to have to fight. You're going to have to sacrifice something one way or another, because Robles is obviously the much better defender over Canzone. So if you put him out in right field, you want defense out there. If you decide you want Canzone DHing, then you're going to put Polo at second, which is also sacrificing some defense, but you want Polo's bat in there. Polo's bat's going to be in there no matter what. It's just where and how.
Back to that last bench spot. So that's talking through the second base spot. Is Cole Young going to make this roster in the postseason?
I would assume, and if they just keep everything as is, he will, because, again, the odd man out offensively is going to be Harry Ford. But if the Mariners decide they want a Terrence Gore type player on their playoff roster, then sure, there could be some consideration to bring Samad Taylor up for it, because if the idea of the last spot is we want somebody to run the bases, Samad Taylor can do that, and he's really fast. I think he just set the all-time Tacoma record for stolen bases this year. He swipes a ton of bags. And if you want some speed off the bench, he could do that. And in an absolute pinch, he can play second base in the outfield. So is there an argument for it? Sure. Will they do that? You'd still be sacrificing some offense with that and Cole Young.
Leo has his spot clamped down, I think. I think he's earned his spot on the postseason roster. The question arises with Cole because he's only started 2 games this month. We're on September 18th. He started twice. If he's just not going to play and he's working on something, which is fine. He's young. He's 22 years old. If there's mechanical things he needs to work on to earn his starting spot back, that's fine. He can work through those. I don't think the playoff roster is the spot to be working on those on. And if your idea for that spot is we would use Cole Young in base running situations, I would rather, like you, have Samad Taylor or Miles Mastrobuoni. Mastrobuoni is a good bit faster by sprint speed this year. It's almost 20 percentile points higher than Cole Young this year at the big league level. And Samad Taylor, you mentioned the stolen bases. He's a 96th percentile runner in AAA. That is, if you want someone to run, I think that's the guy you go with. And you don't just keep Cole Young there to sit.
If they're going to make a move like that, I think it's going to be Taylor. I know Mastro's had the big league time this year, but if they needed Mastrobuoni for something, I feel like he would be the guy that would replace Rivas if, heaven forbid, he got injured. If you are calling somebody up for this role to run the bases, I know Mastro can run. I feel like it would be Samad Taylor. Because, again, Taylor can go play second base and he can play the outfield if you really need him to. You'd have somebody out there. Mastrobuoni's more of an infielder. I know he played some right field this year. But if you're going for speed, it's Taylor.
And your hope is you wouldn't have to use either of them. You just win every game by a lot.
Oh, that'd be great.
That would be great. Yeah, Mastro, especially with Rayleigh on the bench. So Rayleigh, I penciled in on the bench, and he can play center, which would be the only other thought of like Mastro, since he has technically played some outfield. That.
Yeah. Now, what do you do if a lefty's on the mound in the playoffs? In that scenario, do you leave Dom on the bench? I'd assume you put Robles in right, you would DH Polo and have Rivas play second.
Sure. I mean, you have to sacrifice some spot in the lineup. There's not enough righties on this roster to balance that out.
But that feels like that's what you do, right?
Yeah.
You're trying not to expose Dom against a dominant lefty, assuming that's who you'd face in a postseason game.
So Framber.
Framber, Skubal, whoever. So you'd DH Polo, put Robles in right, and Rivas at second?
Dom's hit lefties this year. Depending on how they feel, they might just roll with it.
Well, he'd come into that game. I'm not saying he wouldn't play, but I'm saying once you get a righty in there, then you'd throw him out. Yeah, you're right. He's hit lefties better. He hasn't hit for much power against lefties, but just average-wise and picking up hits, he has gotten hits.
We'll see. Maybe this weekend will tell us, because there's Framber, since Framber's starting this weekend, and it's essentially a playoff series. This will be a good first test.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
Next question comes from Tanner on Patreon, and Tanner's question is, with the season winding down, who has been your favorite pitcher and position player this year, and why? Also, do you think 5 years, $80 million for Josh Naylor is a good deal?
Let's just answer the first question first, because I feel like it's easy. Cal Raleigh, Brian Wu. Do you have a different answer?
Cal Raleigh felt too basic, so I chose Josh Naylor, because he's fun. It puts a smile on my face.
Oh,
but we have the same pitcher.
Can I pick Logan Evans if we're going that route?
If you want, I mean, it's your choice.
In terms of big league success this year, it's pretty hard not to say Brian Wu. In terms of just a story of somebody we really root for getting to the big leagues and getting some real innings this year. Yeah, I'd say that.
Favorite is up to your opinion, dog. Who was your favorite?
The story is probably Logan Evans. In terms of on-field success, to see what Brian Wu did this year is impeccable. So it's hard not to say Wu.
I chose Brian Wu not only because he was the best, because I said he's the only pitcher not to frustrate me a lot at certain points.
AKA on the road.
Correct. Yeah, exactly. He's the only one where I'm like, yep, we know what we're getting.
By the way, have you seen this dude online who looks like Brian Wu and has been like reacting to all of his starts?
On TikTok? Yeah.
On TikTok, he's doing Twitch streams, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay,
it's pretty funny.
You've seen this guy.
I have seen it.
I wonder if Brian's seen him. I'm guessing he has. We should have asked him that the other day when we did the interview with him, but I forgot.
Maybe when we see him again the next homestand, we'll ask him, because he looks very much alike.
Yeah. He looks similar. Anyway, what would a Josh Naylor contract look like? It's funny. So Passan was on Brock and Salk this week, as he always is every Tuesday, and they were asking him a similar question. And he seemed to think that, well, ESPN put out an article about incoming free agents, and him and Kylie McDaniel worked together on it, and he was saying that Kylie said he thought Naylor was going to get something more like 3 years in the $52 to $54 million range, if I had that right. Now, Passan said he personally felt like that was lowballing it a little bit, and him and Kylie didn't see totally eye to eye on that. I think because of Naylor's age, he is going to fight for more years, which is warranted. But yeah, I don't think it's going to cost 5 years for $100 million for Naylor. I would think if you were to give him something in the 4 for 75 range, that could get it done. AAV, it's a little bit less than what Christian Walker got this past offseason with 3 for 60, but it's an extra year. In total, it's a little more guaranteed money. And it feels like about the right price range for a first baseman that, again, is not going to accrue insane WAR, but you know how valuable he is to this team.
Why do we think he's getting such a short deal? Is it just because the market has changed?
Yes. I mean, Pete Alonso just got a 1-1.
Right. Which is kind of crazy. But I'm looking at all these other contracts signed by productive first basemen around Josh Naylor's age. Jake Cronenworth got 7 years for $80 million. Wilson Contreras got 5 years for $87.5 million. Chris Bryant is better than Josh Naylor, so that's kind of unfair to compare. And he's not really a first baseman. So, and then we have the Walker deal, which is still would be more money than what Josh Naylor would get there. I'll tell you, if it's a 3-year contract, that works out really well for the Mariners. I think their odds of signing him are significantly higher if it's a 3-year contract as opposed to a 5-year contract. The Mariners have been anything but consistent about not wanting to sign guys through their age 35 season, but they will sign guys once they are past their age 35 season and cooked. That's the rule.
Yes. You mean like Donovan Solano?
And AJ Pollock.
Are we forgetting somebody? I feel like we might be.
Colton Wong was less than 35.
Yeah. I mean, Naylor's age should help with this, right? Because if you're going to give him a 4-year deal, which I don't think would totally turn the Mariners away, then you're talking about signing a guy who would play through his age 32 season in Seattle, 29, 30, 31, 32. That's pretty reasonable. You're not going to be 35. You're going to be a power-hitting first baseman in his early 30s and late 20s. Pretty reasonable deal. I would hope if he's looking for about 4 years, they could get that done. They gave Nelson Cruz 4 years when he was much older than Naylor. Again, I know it's a different profile, but still, the idea remains. I know it was also a different front office and a different leader of the ownership group at that time, but even still, if you can give Nelson Cruz that deal, there's no reason you can't give Josh Naylor a 4-year deal.
4 years at $17 to $18 million a year.
Sign me right up. 100%.
Perfectly reasonable. Next question comes from Josh on Patreon, and Josh's question is, take into account the projected pitching matchups. What's your game-by-game win-loss prediction for the remainder of the regular season?
Oh, every game.
Mm-hmm.
I thought we might just do the Astros. Okay, let's think through this. I think they win the Brian Wu start Friday. I think
I'm
they
with
get
you.
to. I think they get to Hunter Brown, and I think Brian Wu steps up in a huge way. I think Saturday, if you were to pick a game they could lose, it feels like it could be that one. They've struggled against Framber this year. We know Kirby's had his problems on the road. I'll say they lose that one. Where are you at?
I'm with you on that. Yep.
Okay. And then I think they win the Sunday Night Baseball game.
Same.
Logan takes down Alexander. The Mariners win 2 of 3. They put on a show on the national stage, and they win the Astros series.
You're going to be shocked by this. Did not even bother writing out the pitching matchups for the Rockies series. Win.
Yes, and if they do anything else besides that, unacceptable.
Do you know what's really kind of crazy that I didn't even realize till I wrote this all out? The Mariners, by the end of that Rocky series, if they do exactly what we just said, would already be at 89 wins.
Dude, that's nuts.
That's kind of crazy. I didn't think they were getting to 89 wins this year. But all they need to do is beat the Astros and take care of one of the worst teams in baseball history at home, where they're 20-3 in their last 23 games, and they're at 89 wins and still have a series left to play. That almost certainly gets you in the playoffs. That stretch, if you do that, you are in the playoffs.
Yeah. And assuming you can win at least one against the Dodgers, that's another 90-win season. Which is funny because we thought for a while their 84 wins, 85 wins could win the division.
Yeah, I said 86 at the beginning of the year.
Well, you said 86 to get in the playoffs, right?
No, I said 86 and they would miss.
Oh, right. But
Which 86 might miss this year.
But we talked about at some point in the middle of the year that 85 wins could win you the AL West. That's not going to happen now.
No.
Yeah.
No, I think it was looking a little bit more mid earlier this year.
Okay, and then the Dodgers series to close it out. So, again, Wu...
I have those matchups written.
Yeah.
So it's Kershaw in his final career start, by the way, on Friday. Ever. He's retiring. Final regular season start. And we're texting our friend who's a pretty diehard Dodgers fan, said he does not think Kershaw's pitching in the playoffs.
No.
So this might be it. This might be it for Kershaw on that Friday.
Yeah. And he's a pretty prominent Dodgers Twitter figure, too. If you've seen Blake Harris on Twitter, who's got a really big following. That's
He's been
our
on
friend.
here, on the pod.
Oh, right. A couple years ago, we had him on. So, yeah, he thinks they're probably not going to roll Kershaw out in a postseason start. So maybe he pitch out of the bullpen. Maybe he just wouldn't be on the roster. But, yeah, if you're going to throw Glasnow and Blake Snell and Shohei and Yamamoto in the postseason, that doesn't really leave a spot for Kershaw.
No. So Kershaw is going to face off with Kirby on Friday. Glasnow versus Gilbert. A lot of tall, long hair on the mound on Saturday. And then Emmett Sheen and Bryce Miller on Sunday.
I think the Mariners win Friday and Sunday's game of that series.
I flip-flopped Friday and Saturday, but honestly, at that point, it depends what the Mariners are playing for. Like, what if the Tigers tank? Like, what if they get swept by the Guardians again in the middle of the week? Then the Mariners have a 2-game lead on them with the tiebreaker for the number 2 seed.
Yeah, then at that point, you're rolling out hangover lineups. You're not playing anybody. You're resting everybody.
Right, which is why I kind of had a hard time predicting this series. But I think the Mariners can win 2 out of 3 against the Dodgers at home. But it might not matter. So
Right.
Which is fine by me.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of hangover lineups. That would put the Mariners at 91 wins, which is kind of crazy. That would be their 4th most wins they've ever won in a season.
Wow. So what 01, 02, 03,
Yep.
and then 25?
Yeah, how many wins did they win in 2000?
I can't remember, but I remember in 02 and 03, they won 93 games each of those years and missed the playoffs.
In 2000, they might have won 91. Yeah, they won 91 and 71, so it would have been tied for the 4th most.
All right.
That's kind of crazy. This roster.
Amazing. I mean, this roster, yes. The post-deadline roster, sure. The
Pre-deadline roster.
No.
No.
Donovan Solano, Rowdy Telesli, Odi Taveras, that ain't a 90-win team.
No. Next question comes from Xander on Patreon. And Xander's question is, in spirit of the Savannah Bananas coming to T-Mobile on Friday and Saturday, who do you think the surprise guest that they will have on the field will be during the series?
I think there's 2 obvious ones. One could be Ichiro because he's at the field every day. He works out with the Mariners every day. He also doesn't travel on the road as far as I'm concerned. So he would be right in the area. And this also feels like the exact type of thing at this point in his life that he'd love to do. It's like, hey, Ichiro, you want to get out in front of a huge crowd and pitch for an inning? I bet you he'd say absolutely. So he'd be one, and Marshawn feels like a guy that would do this type of thing. So if I were to pick two of the more, if there were betting odds on this, I bet you those two would be pretty high.
What about Sherm? Because he still lives in the area. Like, Marshawn doesn't.
They could do that.
Richard Sherman would be fun. I think there's one slam dunk obvious one that has to show up. Kyle Seager.
I mean, that would be the greatest troll job of all time. He refuses to even step foot back in the city for anything else since he stopped playing. But then when the Savannah Bananas come to town, he flies all the way out from North Carolina to Seattle just to show up and play in that.
Just to do a TikTok dance. And a backflip.
He's gritty.
I'm actually kidding. I don't think so. The only other thing I could think of, because they've tried to tie it in with baseball in a lot of these cities, but the Mariners don't have a lot of easy options that would sort of fit the status required for a guest appearance.
Unless they're going to fly out Felix, who was just here about a month and a half ago.
They could. Does Felix want to fly all the way from Miami for a Savannah Bananas appearance?
I don't know.
It's a good question. Kyle Seager would be great if he didn't not want to see the Mariners.
Ever.
So I think it'll be fun, though. I honestly, betting odds, I think it'll be a Seahawk. That's usually how it goes.
Yeah, unless, again, it's Ichiro or it's Randy or they get somebody of that notion.
Sometimes they have multiple, so it could be a Seahawk and a Mariner. Hey, maybe they'll get our guy Charlie Furbush.
That would be funny.
It's like, hey!
He'd fit right in.
He would, yeah. Tom Wilhelmsen, too.
Yeah, exactly.
Tom in his prime, I think, would be perfect for this.
This is going to be really fun. Again, I honestly wish they had come to town in the middle of the season so we could have had a sole focus on this and just enjoying it. Not that we're not going to on Friday, because we are. It just, again, happens to coincide with this massive, massive marquee Mariners series that so much weight of the season is hanging on.
Do we think more people are going to be watching Root Sports or the Savannah Bananas on Friday evening?
Well, here's the good news. You can do both. If you're watching from home, you can have Root on and just pull up your phone and watch on YouTube, because the Savannah Bananas you can watch all the games on YouTube.
Actually, no, I meant in the stadium.
Oh, I think people are going to be multitasking. Yeah.
I agree. I don't think the viewership numbers are going to be that low. 47,000 is a very low number for viewership, but it's still going to be some decent competition. But regardless, I agree with you. I think people are going to be multitasking. The service in there is good enough, and I cannot blame people for wanting to do both.
No.
Next question comes on Patreon. This comes from Robert, and he says, hot take. Edward Bizzardo should be the eighth inning leverage guy, not Brash. Am I crazy?
A little crazy, but look, I understand the trepidation. Matt Brash is not at the same second half as he's had first half. His first half ERA was below 1. In the second half, it's 4.3, and his whip's 1.5. Look, there's been some tough sledding for Matt Brash in the second half. I don't think you're going to yank him out of that spot this late in the year, but I just think a combination of all four of those guys, Brash, Bizzardo, Spire, Munoz, will throw in different pockets in different situations in the postseason for where they best fit.
You know what I think? I think Edward Bizzardo is great, and he's pitched really well, and he's earned himself some leverage spots. I think Matt Brash has gotten a little unlucky in the second half. His numbers, besides the ERA, haven't changed that much. His hard hit rate is up less than 3%. His walk rate is up less than 2%. His strikeout rate, by the way, is up 5% in the second half. Does that really coincide with a almost half batter raise and whip? Do you know what sticks out to me a little bit more? The fact that his batting average on balls in play is 150 points higher in the second half, despite not getting hit harder at all and not like he's getting shelled with line drives all over the place. Honestly, think he's just gotten a little unlucky. And I think Wednesday essentially showed that. The expected batting average on that Frazier ball was .060. It should be an out. But instead he gave up a 2-run home run in 0 innings, which inflates your ERA enormously. So yeah, I think it's a little bit unlucky. The stuff still looks really good. The walk rate should probably be a little bit lower, but otherwise I just don't see anything to be concerned with.
I just feel like sometimes these days with Matt Brash, you can tell within the first batter if it's going to be smooth sailing or not. For example, against the Royals on Wednesday, you could tell in the first batter, oh, he doesn't have his best stuff today.
Walking the leadoff batter is never a successful thing, hence the walk rate going down.
Right. Yeah, those numbers don't scream that he's had some massive drop-off in the second half. I also just think that this is a guy coming off Tommy John. He has been worked a lot. They've really asked a lot of him in his first year back from Tommy John. And part of me wonders if there's any fatigue factor there. Now, look, the appearance he made on Wednesday, he was on 3 days rest. It's not like they were throwing him back-to-back. I still just wonder if maybe there's some time in the Rockies series where you'll be able to get him a little extra rest and sit him down and just try to get him right for the postseason, especially if in the Dodgers series, too, that you know the role you're going to be in and the seed you're going to have. There's some ways to try to freshen up Matt Brash as much as you can so he's as ready to go for the postseason as possible. Because I do just wonder if there's a little bit of fatigue there.
It's a possibility. He did not pitch last year.
No.
So.
Now, I would also say they're going to need him a lot in the Astros series because with all the righties that the Astros have, I remember this happened last time during the Astros series too. There wasn't a ton of pockets for Gabe Spire to pitch in. Now look, me personally, I would throw Gabe no matter what. The Mariners seem to try and protect him when there's a lot of righties out on the mound or out at the plate. So I wonder if this is going to be a series where you don't see as much of Spire, you see more Brash, Bizardo, Munoz, and then come the Rockies series, maybe you'll have a chance to sit Brash down and just rest him a little bit.
I'm with you on that. Last question in the mailbag comes from Unfunkable on YouTube, and the question is, has Luis Castillo played himself into a starting role in the playoffs, especially because of his last 3 starts? I know Kirby has also been impressive this week, but Luis has a better track record overall this year.
The postseason experience factor is real. The fact he's pitched great in September is very real. And I feel like this storyline changes every turn through the rotation. Because you know who 2 of the 3 spots are going to in Wu and Gilbert. It's about that last spot or 2 spots and who's going to take them. Somebody made a good point to us about this when we were doing some fan interviews out at the last home series. Somebody said if the Mariners are at home, I would roll with Castillo. If they're on the road, you could pivot. I actually think that's right. If you're the Mariners and you're going to get home games during the playoffs and you can set it up where Luis is going to throw at home, I would sign up for that. Because Luis at home versus on the road has been a lot different this year, where he's thrived at home. So I think the way Luis has pitched in the last month warrants some serious consideration, if not a penciled-in spot to start in the playoffs, but it needs to be at T-Mobile Park.
But it's the same thing with Kirby. Like, you start a series at home, you pitch... Let's say they decide not to listen to us and pitch Luis Castillo at home and say they have to choose between Kirby and Luis for a road game. In a game 4, hypothetically.
Yeah, that does get dicey, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm. Because it's a better idea to pitch Luis Castillo at home does not mean they're going to pass up starting Logan Gilbert with a chance to potentially go up 2-0 in a series. Or if you're down 0-1, I'd ask Mariner fans, do you want 2025 Luis Castillo on the bump down 0-1 in a series? Everyone would say no.
Right. Yeah, it's going to be an interesting puzzle. The only thing that's solidified right now is Brian Woo's been your best starter this year. Logan struggled on the road. Kirby struggled on the road. Luis has struggled on the road. Bryce, so far since getting back from injury, the reason I've fought for him a little bit is every start he's kept you in the game, but he hasn't had any truly dominant outings either. So it's going to be an interesting puzzle.
The track record thing is very real. But if I want a tiebreaker for this, for who I would want to start, I want to say whose stuff plays up more. And at this rate, I'd say it's Kirby's. Kirby's stuff has played up when he's needed it. Look at that Angels start he just had. Look at his last playoff start he had. Stuff was great. And Luis Castillo, the last playoff stuff he had against the Blue Jays and against the Astros, that's as good as his stuff has ever been as a Mariner. I just don't think that's in the tank anymore. unless it's sitting there just waiting to come out. When Luis Castillo was at his best in the playoffs, he was throwing 100 miles an hour with a wipeout slider. Doesn't have those pitches really anymore.
Who's got the lower floor in a playoff start? Who has a higher percentile chance to get blown up? Is it Kirby or Castillo? At this rate,
Push.
I almost feel like I lean toward Kirby a little bit. Maybe the Rays start sitting in my head too much, but the storyline with Kirby always is when he is too much in the strike zone against the wrong team, it goes south.
The good thing about the postseason is that you don't need innings out of a guy. If he sucks, you yank him right away. Like if Kirby gives up 4 runs through 2 or through 1 1/3, he's getting pulled. Same with Castillo.
I hope Dan Wilson knows that.
I'm sure he does.
I hope so. I mean, this
You're going
is
to have a lot
who,
of time to strategize before these series.
Well, that's true. It's just this is a guy who's built himself on, giving guys a lot of grace and a lot of leeway. That's the type of manager.
But this isn't the regular season.
You're right. This would also be his first postseason as a manager, so I hope he's ready for it.
Yeah. Look, if he's running Kirby out there to give up 9 runs in 2 innings, then we're going to come on here and we're going to rightfully criticize it.
Yeah.
But I would think there's enough people around who are like, guys, if a starter gives up 4 through an inning and a third, he's getting yanked out of the game.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter who it is. If Brian Wu does that, I think they'd take him out too.
Yeah.
You got to win. That's the name of the game. Regular season, you're trying to rest, trying to make sure everyone's healthy for the long marathon. Postseason's a sprint, and if you're not first, you're last. And I think they understand that.
You're probably right.
I would still lean with Kirby though, because the stuff upside is that much more, and Luis Castillo's ticking up stuff is not as good as Kirby's.
I think I'm with you. I would side that way too. It's close, but you're right that the upside of a good start in a playoff series probably leans more toward Kirby at this point. You know that you've got the lower floor potential with Kirby, but you know you've got the higher ceiling too, because his stuff can still produce 7 shutout against the Astros like he did in 22.
Yeah,
that hasn't
exactly.
changed. Yeah.
It's a good problem to have.
Good one. And a good set of mailbag questions again. Man, I can't believe we only have 3 podcasts left to do before the end of the regular season. Or sorry. No, yeah, 3. I have that right. 3.
Yeah, 3.
That's crazy. We're really up against it here. And the next time we hop on with you guys, we're going to know. We're going to know the result of that Astros series. We're going to know what lies ahead of them. We're going to have a lot of the season painted out at the next time that we hop on the mic and talk to you guys.
Buckle up.
Buckle up, baby.
Enjoy it. This is what we've been waiting for our entire lives. Let's go.
It's amazing. Again, it's going to be nerve-wracking, but enjoy that you have earned your right to be in a position to have nerve-wracking games, because that is what it's about. Yeah. So let's do it. Let's keep it rolling. All right, that just about wraps up this edition of the Marine Layer Podcast. You guys know the drill. If you want to listen to the full-form podcast, you can do so wherever you get your audio pods. Make sure you're downloading. Please rate and review 5 stars. It really does help. Also, if you're on YouTube, go hit subscribe, leave a like, drop a comment on the video, and then you can check us out across social media at Marine Layer Pod and find everything else between our merch, Patreon, and live show schedules over at our website, marinelayerpod.com. Again, one more time, all across socials at Marine Layer Pod. That's TJ. I'm Lyle. As always, we thank you guys for tuning in. We'll talk to you soon.